Hi, it's Larry here. Welcome back to the channel. I hope you enjoyed Telegraph Road yesterday. I know I certainly did. And as you can see by the thumbnail, I wanted to wrap up the trilogy of the Battle of the Bands, which was Staind versus David Gilmour versus Roger Waters, all different live versions of Comfortably Numb from the Wall album. Now, I had a few issues with Roger Waters' concert video from In the Flesh. So what I did is I dropped that onto another platform. And so for you that are returning to see the end of the trilogy, please check out the links below. And for you newcomers expecting to see the Roger Waters video, my apologies if the thumbnail misled you, but the other two videos will be posted here as suggestions. So all three videos links will be down below. The first two are on YouTube, the Staind and the David Gilmour Live at Pompeii version. The third one, Roger Waters, they wiped me right off of YouTube. I tried downloading it 3 or 4 times. And I even went on to some other reaction channels to see how they were doing it or how they got away with it. But very specifically, it was Roger Waters' production company that had a beef with it. So although you could load all others, versions of Pink Floyd music, and they're very liberal with that, you can't do that with Roger Waters. I found out the hard way. So, I don't want to risk the issue of, YouTube or Alphabet, Google, taking down this entire channel. So listen, if you want to stay with me here on this particular video, I will show you my entire lead up verbally, and then my reaction and my tie up of the song from Roger Waters, and then the ratings and all that good stuff. I'll leave that here. So if you want to sit back and relax and just kind of go, through the verbal part of it, I can't show the concert, and I can't play the music from In the Flesh. So otherwise, the alternative is the very first link down in the description is where I was able to post the entire video, unedited, uninterrupted, concert footage and all, of Roger Waters In the Flesh. So if you want to just kind of pause here or just go down there and get to the third and final part of Battle of the Bands, Comfortably Numb by Pink Floyd, just go ahead, go down there and click it. If you want to come back here and listen to it again, that's fine, or give it a thumbs up. I'm not really vested in Rumble very much, so but I didn't really want to finish off with just 2 of the 3 bands, as I promised to do all 3. So with that being said, I'm going to say so long for now. Hang on if you just want to continue with this video. If not, go down the description, hit the first link, and you'll see the video in the entirety, the concert footage, and my reactions and all that good stuff. Today we end the trilogy, the Battle of the Bands, if you will, with Roger Waters' performance of Comfortably Numb, released by Pink Floyd on the Wall album back in 1979, alongside their rock opera movie featuring Pink as a character, a very isolated, dark character. And if you haven't already saw the movie, I would really recommend that you take a look at it somehow. I know there are versions of it on YouTube. If you have a premium account, I believe you can just check it out pretty easily. So today, the way it's going to work, we're just going to sit back. I have the live footage from In the Flesh, and we'll take a look at that together. I'm going to give you my reaction of Roger Waters' version of the song, followed by a fairly decent interpretation of the song and what it reveals about that character Pink, and how it relates to the movie Pink Floyd The Wall as well. So, and at the end of that, we're going to rate the song in general versus all the other songs on the playlist. And then finally, we're going to put these in order of the 3 performances that started out with Staind, followed up by David Gilmour, and finally here today by Roger Waters. And I don't even know yet how that's going to pan out. So far, I can tell you it's David Gilmour's number 1, and Stained is number 2. So will Roger Waters usurp those two other bands or fit somewhere in between? Or would, heaven forbid, Stained knock off Roger Waters? I don't know. Well, let's wait and find out. So sit back, relax. Let's take a listen to In the Flesh version of Roger Waters' Comfortably Numb. By the way, written by both David Gilmour and Roger Waters, playing with two entirely different bands live. And there lies the end of the trilogy, the battle of the bands, if you will, with Stained, Roger Waters obviously today, and David Gilmour performing the same song last week live. We got to see two of the three bands live, and I got to say I've really got my work cut out for me because this was magnificent. This performance was really quite, mesmerizing. I think I used the same word to describe David Gilmour's live at Pompeii version of this same song. This is tough. Just a few words on this particular performance. I thought it was fabulous. Roger Waters obviously oozing charisma in a very different way than David Gilmour. David Gilmour's charisma is kind of like a quiet confidence, like a kind of more cerebral charisma, whereas Roger Waters is very theatric and also very intellectual as well, but uses his body language to really ooze that, like play through. He's got his hands free a lot of the time, because I noticed there was even another person playing bass as well. He was holding the guitar or bass in his hand the entire song, but wasn't playing that much. But that was just really, really stupendous. I like the drummer, very, very good. He filled in very, very well. I thought it was very tasteful. And those three ladies, I think I just mentioned it, really blow my mind. And everyone was really good on this. So tough one, Okay, so one thing I know for sure is that Stained comes in third place, because although when I heard Stained's version first, I was so impressed. But now, after watching David Gilmour live in Pompeii and now In the Flesh with Roger Waters, there's no way Stained, we didn't get the benefit of seeing them live, so there's that. But these are kind of epic performances with Roger Waters and David Gilmour. So Stained comes in at number 3. That's an easy judgment to make, and that is no insult to Stained, because again, I thought their version was quite good. Now ranking these two versions, and then I'll get into the song in just a second. I don't know where really to start. I mean, David Gilmour, obviously, with his epic guitar solo in his performance at Pompeii, was just really spectacular. And all the musicians at Pompeii playing with David Gilmour were having a great time. They were happy. They seemed to be very uplifted in that concert. And for showmanship, I mean, Pompeii and those ruins, not a big crowd like here with Roger Waters, but equally as impressive kind of as far as the ambiance of the theater itself. Quite good. Now here you had, this was at least 20,000 people. I would think this would be like an NBA or NHL type stadium. Well, they said the Rose Garden, so yeah, it's actually it might even be a university, but they pack in about 20,000. So that ambiance was really good. Standing ovation at the end of the song. The crowd was really into it as well. Again, repeating myself, the musicians here with Roger Waters were very, very good. I really enjoyed them, and Roger Waters. It's amazing how David Gilmour and Roger Waters are so diametrically opposed with their ideologies about life and how they go about their business, and they're kind of griping and taking pot shots at each other, even up to recently. And yet, they can step out on stage separately with different bands and create magic. So my hat's off to both men, and obviously all the musicians and the production and the tour, all the handlers and everything like that. I mean, it's just, boy. Okay, so where does Roger Waters and David Gilmour? I mean, I'm sorry, folks. I got to take the easy way out, but it's strongly the way I feel. I feel equally impressed with both of those performances for different reasons, as I kind of covered so far up to this point. But I could sit down and watch one. I can watch them back to back and enjoy them equally. And maybe that's the way you feel. Maybe it's not. I don't know. I would love to hear how you felt about this. Now, I want to tell you a little bit about what this song is about, and it really explains it. This is one of the best parts of the movie, and there will be spoilers. So if you haven't watched the movie, pause this, come back to it later, put it on save for later, and then come back and listen to my interpretation of this. I thought this was one of the best parts of the movie, and the reason is that the character in the movie is portrayed. It's a fellow by the name of Pink. It starts when he was a child, and one of the opening sequences was his father, who was in the military, getting bombed by an air raid and losing his life. So he grew up without his father, and he kind of felt very isolated. His mother was very overshadowing and all that kind of stuff. And Pink just, grew through the years and eventually found a girlfriend and, but oh yeah, there was this character also went to school in one of those pompous British schools where he was really dissuaded from being artistic. I think one of his teachers was making fun of him in the movie for writing poems while he's poems, everybody, and slapping him on the hand with the strap for being creative. Can you imagine? And so the song really talks about that. And so this character gets so, I guess, what's the word you could use? So disillusioned with life and really isolates himself and takes they didn't really show it so much, but perhaps heavy drugs or perhaps prescriptions. But in the song, when they say he's comfortably numb, he literally is asleep in a chair before a concert performance, because he did actually make it to become a musician. And so he's on tour, and he was just like chilling out. He likes to be alone, sitting in a chair, asleep, but this time he's passed out. And that could have been a mix of prescription drugs. I think they showed a lot of empty bodies and cigarette butts and everything in the scene, if memory serves correct. So basically, it's this part in this song refers to waking him up and getting him ready for the show. So they pump just another pinprick. So they pump a bunch of like uppers or whatever into him, and it just it completely changes his personality. He just, and they're slapping him on the face, get ready, and they drag him down the stairs of the hotel in the back alley, and they throw him in the back of a limo, and he's just starting to come awake in the limo, and he transforms his character from this sullen, isolated, deeply depressed, I think recently dumped by his wife back in Britain or in the United States. I can't remember that he was torn in either one. And he transforms into this kind of authoritarian, totalitarian character where he is actually, and they use colors of the Nazis and stuff like that as symbolisms for what he turns into. So at the end of the limo ride, he's now ready to perform. And so this is the transformation of the character of Pink in the movie and in the song. So Comfortably Numb was where he was until the end of the song, when everything just goes kind of chaotic. And I think that ripping guitar solo in the second half of the song really shows that transformation from, sleep passed out in a hotel room to becoming this like, rigid, authoritarian character that walks into the stadium and starts rambling on about his racism and just everything despicable about what you might have saw in the 1930s, etc. And Pink Floyd, I mean, give them credit. I mean, David Gilmour and Roger Waters wrote this song together, and they were really against the sort of powers to be in the political powers and corporate powers and all that kind of stuff. I mean, a lot of their songs have that in it, and you can see Roger Waters today is always railing on it, right? And so that, I think they were comparing like modern day Britain with kind of the 1930s, what was happening in Central Europe with Germany, and so it's a very deep movie. And it's a very deep song, and when you see the movie, you will really understand visually how this song really fits into the wall. The entire album is a story of a man's life from his childhood to the end, and he gets judged in the end for all his transgressions and his thoughts and everything like that. I mean, it would really be nice to note for self, do some more wall songs and maybe try to put it all together, glue it all together. This is just really great. So in the end, we have two short pieces of business to conclude here. Number one, Roger Waters and David Gilmour's live versions of Comfortably Numb tie for number one in the Battle of the Bands, and Stain comes in second. Okay? So, by the way, David Gilmour songs that I cover on the channel here are the most downvoted songs. I looked at Google Analytics. I haven't done any Roger Waters songs. They're the most downvoted songs, but they're the most popular ones too. So there's some Roger Waters people out there that might like this video. So look, if you're going to do a thumbs down, just don't bother. Just like maybe shoot me a comment and tell me why I'm wrong or why you don't like, one of those guys or one of the bands that you're watching here. Don't really need the thumbs down because that prevents other people from possibly watching it because it damages the algorithm a little bit. Okay, so that's where that now ranking of this song Comfortably Numb on the universal chart of all the ratings of the songs on the playlist here. I've got to give this an A+. It's not quite up there with Dogs, Shine on You Crazy Diamond, but it's going to get a high A+, and right behind Time, the studio version of Time. So the top 4 songs now on this entire playlist and this channel are Pink Floyd. And so, folks, thanks for hanging out with me these 3 weeks to really get into Pink Floyd a little bit more. And look, we're going to absolutely revisit Pink Floyd in the near future. But I've got Dire Straits and Steely Dan, a lot of requests for a couple more of those songs. And then there's Rush, there's Deep Purple, there's a whole bunch coming up. So just be patient, and I hope you enjoy. And I have a lot of variety of music here. And anyway, on that note, this video has run very, very long. I appreciate if you hung with me to the end here. And wherever you are, whoever you are, take care, and it was a pleasure doing this with you and sharing this with you today and the last 3 weeks really. So take care.